figure out how to do it, but like we'll give you the space to do it.
But then the reputation that they would earn launching from North Korea is very different than the one they would earn
You have to
having
launch.
that license.
Usually, like the preferable thing is to launch from a coast so that you're out over the water and you kind of make your roll and your arc into orbit. And the you also want as close to the equator as possible. It's the easiest to get to orbit, right? If you're equatorial. So I mean that kind of limits the geography. Like it's really hard to launch a space station from launch a rocket from Siberia. Like they fly from Kazakhstan, from Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, which is much farther south. What's that?
I just never thought about that before.
Yeah. Geography makes a big difference in space launch issues. Yes, sir.
So I hear what you're saying in terms of this urge to migrate outwards and onwards, and there being commercial interest. But you know, can we just talk a little bit about bottlenecks for a second? And
Sure.
When you're describing this as okay, you are up to NASA standards. The discovery of space has obviously been very nationalized.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, has NASA worked with a non-U.S. based contractor, and how much from that $72 million in the Soviet launch is coming down in the private sector, and how open is this game actually to?
It's more open than maybe you think it is. We have special authority to contract with Russia. We don't typically, as a country, do a lot of like government work with Russia. But we have a special authority to negotiate those contracts for seats. We do a lot with, like, who was it? Sierra Nevada, the little spaceship. Yeah. Their docking adapter for the ISS was made by the European Space Agency. They went out, they bought it, they subcontracted for it, and so you've got international skin in the game. It's not going to be a lot of direct contracting. It's going to be business partnerships that kind of flow down from there.
In terms of Kurt's vision of
Space Pirates.
Space Pirates.
So when private companies do this, you have to go through the registration within the U.S. But is the rest of the world being like, wait, whoa, what are the dangers of just everyone else with satellites going, what is happening here?
Right.
Is this militarized? Like how? And again, back to the bottlenecks. Is it just finances preventing this, or is there a lot of global order that is keeping down just corporations flying things up above the atmosphere?
I think the biggest driver for it is that there's like, how do you make money doing it unless you sell to a government agency? Like, how do you make money going into space? And no one's really figured that out yet. I think that. I would say that the legal issues are really weird. Like intellectual property law, like when you launch a rocket, you go through several different jurisdictions, and how that patent is applicable at different stages of flight is completely different. Space is governed by international treaty, the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. We actually all the signatories to that treaty have vowed to not militarize space. Now there's interpretation of that treaty as to what you can and can't do. Resource allocation is a big one, or mining resources. And we, NASA, it's in our charter, we cannot militarize. Like, we're a non-military agency. We can't touch defense money at all.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is it's not actually a bureaucratic or legal or whatnot. It's more of just a financial viability.
I would say so. Yeah, I think like why do it? Like why? Like honestly, like this industry is run by like eccentric billionaires, right? It's like Elon Musk, this guy Bigelow, who named the company after himself. He made the inflatable space habitat that went up on ISS and it's now on ISS. He's like a hotel magnate in Las Vegas, and apparently like a weird dude. You kind of have to you have to play in that like weird, international supervillain kind of.
Space Pirates.
Space Pirates.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't mention Virgin at all.
Virgin is suborbital. They can't get us to the space station.
Virgin once, you know it.
That came off wrong. We have commercial partnerships with Virgin. I think
suborbital means
anywhere between I think the edge of space is like 60 miles up to
Excited.
to 90 thereabouts. There's many layers, but there's like a suborbital zone. But in order to hit like full orbit, you have to be traveling at 17,500 miles an hour, and you have to get up above about 112 statute miles.
Is that when you don't come back round, you just go pew or forever?
No, gravity takes you and you.
How do you go?
That's suborbital, you keep
So
going.
no, some of those you go straight up, stay there for a while, and then come back right back.
You're going to come back down there.
Yes. You
But
come.
past that, you might never come back.
You fall towards orbit, like you fall into the Earth's orbit, and you have to, like the space station has engines on it, like they use the Soyuz, and they fire the Soyuz rocket to course correct or push it up, because the orbit will degrade as time goes on, and it will burn up, so.
If you get closer to something else, though, you're going to start going on their orbit, right?
Only if it has enough gravity to make an orbit, right? I mean, you know, that's how we got to the moon, right, is to slingshot out of Earth's orbit, like get tossed out, and then get picked up by the moon and fall towards the moon. That was the whole idea. Anyway.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Because we have another space presentation right now, and there